Well, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. This is actually a really big report. I know I made a little mocking video there about pineapple, shrimp, and dogs, and I'm getting frustrated. If you haven't been able to tell, eventually it comes out. But this actually is a really big story. This out of just the news. Evidence mounts that Biden manufactured weeks-long false narrative on Afghanistan. Okay? The long saga of the Russia collusion scandal, during which law enforcement, media, political operatives, and intelligence assets manufactured a 2-year illusion of a Trump-Russia collusion conspiracy that did not exist, raised questions about a new era of political warfare in which false realities could be foisted upon the American public. And I will state further, folks, that not only false realities being foisted upon the American public, but being foisted by the very agencies that are supposed to protect us from those very things, right? I mean, the FBI, it's part of the Department of Justice, right? Not a lot of justice in that. The bungled exit from the Middle East now has some fearing the Biden administration practiced deception by omission and commission to create a 2-month false narrative that misled Congress and the American public by making the situation in and around Kabul look better than it was. 2 powerful pieces of evidence emerged this week that strongly suggest the Afghan exit wasn't just a case of incompetence, but rather an intentional, folks get that, an intentional effort to use PR lipstick on a pig. Let's face it, to disguise the Biden plan, it says, but it is trying to put lipstick on a pig that was secretly willing to accept chaos and stranded Americans as a possible outcome to avoid further military casualties during the exit. And then instead, what did they get? Military casualties. On Wednesday, Reuters published, this is how pathetic they are. Okay, a lot of you people want to give them too much credit. People are like, oh, no, Neil, no, they only leak what they want and all this stuff. No, folks, things do get found out that they don't want found out. Everybody gives these people way too much credit. Like, they're so uber smart, they don't possibly ever make mistakes, Neil, and only the things that get out are the things they want to get out. Let's be realistic here, okay? No, this looks terrible for them, okay? And I need to tell you that perception around the world and in parts of Afghanistan, I believe, is that things are not going well in terms of the fight against the Taliban, Biden is quoted as telling the Afghan president. And there is a need, whether it is true or not, there is a need to project a different picture. Whether it's true or not, really? Okay, thank you. Thank you. The White House did not dispute the account of the July 23rd call. So, folks, there has been no public, oh, no, we didn't do that, all that, right? There's been none. Even though it suggested that an American president asked a foreign leader to assist in creating a fake story. Do you people get, I mean, and they're impeaching Trump for what, twice? Once over peacefully and patriotically protesting, and the other over... Come on, man. These are the things, folks. That little thing. When you are talking to the people in the middle, again, I am constantly telling you, we need to get the narrative out of what is really happening, okay? You have got to ask the people, especially the middle of the roaders. There are people on the hard left. They are not going to get it. But all these middle of the roaders or soft left, you need to start asking them these questions. Did you know that Joe Biden actually called the president of Afghanistan and asked him to lie about the situation on the ground to project a different narrative? Ask him that question. I bet they don't even know. They need to be asked. Well, actually, it's true, and they haven't even denied it, you can tell them. Actually, that occurred, and the Biden administration hasn't even denied it. Yeah, well, all our sailors and soldiers are dying. Earlier this week, Biden administration officials also conceded the president granted himself a waiver to avoid providing Congress this summer a legally required report on the dangers. The president himself granted himself a waiver. This sounds like contractors performing audits, if you get what I mean. Okay? Yeah, the oversight, don't worry. The oversight comes from us. We'll grant our own waivers. We don't need anybody else to, because we know what we want to waive. Leaving lawmakers mostly in the dark about a situation in which U.S. confidence in the Afghan government and military rapidly deteriorated. Not only that, our allies felt abandoned, and Great Britain has come out and said this totally realigns our whole relationship with the U.S. The moron in chief. An act of commission, another of omission, that clearly created false expectations and impressions and empowered the president's top aides from Jen Psaki. By the way, have you seen any more condescending, rude person in your life than her as she deals with the press? Unless they ask about the paint colors on Air Force One and repainting, or the Biden's dog, or something along those lines. Then, oh, that's a really good question. But otherwise, from Jen Psaki at the White House to John Kirby at the Pentagon to make pronouncements like, every American who wants to come home will be able to do so before August 31st. But that wasn't true, was it? Every Afghan loyalist in danger could be evacuated. But that wasn't true. In fact, they've been cutting out the interpreter's tongue. The Afghan army could hold Kabul for months after the U.S. departed. In the end, none of those pronouncements were true, and the plan failed. Scores of Americans, thousands of Afghan loyalists, and $85 billion in prized U.S. military hardware were left behind. Kabul fell to the Taliban before America's departure, and 13 U.S. troops were killed in the single bloodiest American tragedy of the Afghan war in a decade. Republican and Democrat lawmakers alike are now declaring they felt deceived by Biden and his team. From Representative Kat Kamak, Republican out of Florida, this administration has lied to the American people, to Congress, and to the world. I can't even begin to tell you how frustrated I have been, my team, my constituents. It has been absolutely, utterly disheartening. We know that there were soldiers that were there helping, getting people through the gates. They were trying to move people. They were kind of beholden to the State Department because the state was really driving this operation, and they couldn't process paperwork fast enough. In addition to that, folks, there's the fact that the U.S. drone had a lock on the bomber and was not given clearance to take that personnel. It's heartbreaking because the boots on the ground did their job and the suits in Washington didn't. Some high-profile Democrats first began questioning Team Biden's accounts as soon as Kabul fell to the Taliban in mid-August. Congress was told repeatedly that the Afghan Defense and Security Forces were up to the task, that it had the troops, equipment, and willingness to fight. Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Menendez, Democrat, New Jersey, declared. To see this army dissolve so quickly after billions of dollars in U.S. support is astounding. The American Afghan people clearly have not been told the truth about the ANDSF's capacity and deserve answers. Folks, it's not the troops in Afghanistan, and it's not the troops in Afghanistan. The leaders, again, because our leaders in all these areas are so great, capitulated. The troops were willing to fight, and the military forces who have worked with them talked about the courage of some of these people. Anyways, Americans expressed the president to tell the truth, and new polling reflects Biden has lost the confidence of many voters. A Rasmussen Reports poll released Wednesday shows 52% of voters say Biden should resign, while 60% favor his impeachment. Remarkably, 40% of Democrats supported Biden's impeachment in the survey. 40% of Democrats. Kamak told Just the News, her colleagues in the House are absolutely talking about impeachment, but don't have enough Democrats supporting it right now to make it happen. That's absolutely that conversation. It's happening, she told John Solomon Reports podcast. So this goes on. I'll link to the article, but folks, it's bad over there, and and they don't have it all figured out. These Democrats, and I think they thought they had more control over the media than they do. Yeah, but the media was left out, so they're confused, and this is where we're at. So please do share this report around, and remember to keep talking to people and asking them questions, not making statements. I love you, folks. Peace out.